Okay, you guys are not gonna believe the episode we're about to drop today. And I have been sitting here for the last, like, 30 minutes with our jaws on the floor, trying to wrap our mind around all of the latest updates from Google that are not just interesting news articles, but they are very actionable, applied stuff that you can use in your business. I'm gonna show you, like, the cool things that I just figured out we can do with Gemini, Google AI Studio, Workspace Studio. There is a ton going on here. I'm kicking this over to you, Connor. Your team has been doing a ton of research and playing around with these kind of automated workflows. I mean, basically, this is like Zapier built into Google for all of your Google products. So for your Gmail and your Docs and everything. Tell me what you're most excited about here.
I mean, so what I'm most excited about actually like has just changed in the last several minutes because I came in with a kind of a preconceived notion, Jaeden. So did you. Like so behind the scenes a little bit, Jaeden and I sort of talk about like, oh, what's interesting? Like, what's the most interesting thing? What relates to our audience the most? All that kind of stuff. What can we talk about? We have never had a prep session like this before, ever. Right before we got on, where Jaeden and I realized just before we got on that we had been researching two totally different things. And in the meanwhile, Jaeden, like it was building stuff. I was tearing something else down. It's just been okay. Let me just get into it. Essentially, the deal is that Google announced just this week or last week or whatever it was that they're launching Workspace Studio. Okay, so this is the idea here is that it's going to automate agents, right? Like, and obviously, Gemini 3 powered agents. So if you know flows, it used to be that. But I also never assume because I'm non-tech that you guys sort of have used this or built this or anything like that. So we're not talking about it like, oh, it used to be flows, go to Studio, blah, blah. Like, no, that's not how we're going to talk about this. I'll say this. The idea is that it basically follows like the if this, then that model. So in other words, the old Zapier models and Zapier models, whatever, where it's like, hey, if you see any email that's marked urgent, pull that out and drop it over here, right? That's kind of like a robotic arm.
Yep.
There's no brain in there, right? So it's what Workspace Studio is, it inserts the brain in. And so we've been trying this and everybody's been kind of going, crazy about it. So Jaeden, as you saw, I posted about this on LinkedIn and I got a million comments from all our kind of mutual friends, people that we know in this space, right? Are like, wait, this doesn't work. How does this work? Blah, blah, blah. Like typical kind of stuff. Robert Haslam, the our epic creative strategist at AI Mindset, he and my colleague, Andrea, have spent the week just trying to sort of see what they could do, what works, what breaks, everything like that. So Jaeden, is it cool if I sort of like go through some of the things that have worked
Yes,
and haven't worked like in
please.
real life? Okay,
Give
let me
us
do that. Okay, so this is a kind of email that Robert sent me like early this morning, right? On like kind of like testing all this stuff, right? Robert's on LinkedIn. You can sort of follow him there. Anyway, he said he spent the weekend here, and here's like I don't want to call it reality versus hype. It's just what works, what doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 of these real quick. So first of all, Google says just type what you want, and Gemini builds it, right? And Robert says this is true, but with a big asterisk. Okay, so you can type natural language prompts into Studio, and by the way, you can just go to Jaeden, I don't know, it's like studio or workspace.google.com or something like that. Anyway, the point is it builds a structure, but not like the logic. And so what we mean by that is essentially you sort of like have to do like the little mappings itself, like, hey, put the body here and then the decide thing is here. So it's a low code. I mean, it's very, very basic coding. It's not really coding, but it's not zero knowledge, as Robert says, right? So he's like, for this email, he was saying he was trying to like, every time he tried to do it, it just didn't work the same way every time. So that was like really frustrating. So it works, just type what you want and Gemini builds it, yes, but you have to go in and really fine tune it, meaning you have to say like, well, did it actually do this? Did it actually grab this? So it's not as easy as it sounds. Now, the best thing that we found that works out of this is like in the old days, right? This is like the decide node or kind of deciding feature, right? So it's like in the old days, automation just used to have like dumb keywords, right? Like if the subject said urgent, then it's urgent. But now Gemini can actually decide if it's urgent, right? So in other words, we have to be a little specific. So we get a lot of speaking inquiries and a lot of training inquiries, right? It's all inbound stuff from big companies. And they're all like, so Gemini can look at it and be like, oh, this is important. This isn't important. This is what this is. This is what it isn't, is not. And essentially that was pretty simple. And that, Jaeden, was absolutely amazing. The thing that we really needed though, like I do a ton of travel. I'm on the road all the time with engagements with these big companies. And we just wanted to update we have an engagement tracker like in Notion. Now let me just spell out the big problem. And then I'll pause, Jaeden, to sort of like send it over to you again. It can't edit your tracker. It can only append it. So Robert keeps calling it like a stapler instead of like a surgical tool. So all it does is essentially add a row with the updated information. Like if my flight changes or something like that, it can't go in and alter my flight, which is
Mhm.
really frustrating. Instead, it just adds a new row being like, here's the new thing. So I guess sort of I wanted to kind of paint a broad picture, and there's way more to say on this, but paint a broad picture of sometimes when they put these things out, some things work, some things don't. For the most part, it's on its way. But Jaeden, talk about what you figured out like on the fly as we were kind of coming on air.
Okay, so the thing that I'll say about that, this is amazing. It's a lot like Zapier.
Yeah.
With Google, it's very useful. It's a great tool. Google should have built it a million years ago. I'm happy it's built into AI. The one thing, the caveat that I'll say is they call it like AI agents, and I don't like that word because it's hard to pin down exactly what it means. And I'll tell you what I think it was originally intended to mean and what we've evolved it to mean and where Google is at today and where I think they need to be in the future. So originally, agents was you give a AI model a task and it's its job on a repeated basis daily to go do that task and to figure out how to do that task. Figuring out how to do it is, I think, the key thing. So what I would probably say is, if I really wanted a powerful quote unquote agent with this terminology, I would say, you're my travel planner. Make sure that I have flights booked with all of these stipulations. If anything changes, let me know. Please modify them or change them whenever I need you to. And this, if I was really to call something an agent, like truthfully, I think it would need to be able to, if I need to change my flights after it books them, I tell it and it can go call the airline, book the flight. Maybe it's Southwest. You don't have to call the airline. You just log into your account and go change your flight. Like whatever it takes, it should be able to fully do all of the things. A lot of the tools that we're coming out with now, including this one from Google, super incredibly useful. I mean, oh my gosh, it could go check your emails, it can go help you do a bunch of stuff. I don't call them agents though, because they don't do everything that you need to do. I mean, they can interface with a couple softwares, they can work on a couple things, but they're not able to just like go and accomplish tasks. The closest thing, and so anyways, I think this is the new definition that we're calling agents, just any AI thing that does something for you. We just call it an agent now, which I don't
Uh-huh.
think is actually an accurate term, but it sells better, whatever. What I think we're getting close to with the agents is Perplexity's Comet browser, OpenAI's Atlas browser. These browsers take control of your entire screen and they go and accomplish tasks for you. That is a true agent, in my opinion. They're not perfect right now. I've tested them out extensively. I've used them a lot. They're just not quite perfect. So I'm still using people to do a lot of those tasks for me that I tried outsourcing to agents every 6 months. I try with these browsers and they're getting much, much closer, but I don't think they're quite there yet. What I've recently discovered that Google is able to do that I thought was really cool was over on Gemini. I didn't realize you could actually build like repeatable tasks on Gemini. So the one that I did is I said, check my email for sponsorship collaborations. It goes and it checks like for a bunch of sponsorship collaborations, which was super cool. It tells me when the sponsors emailed, what the emails were, what they want to do, whatever. So that's useful. But to me, I don't really want to sit there and just have Gemini go read my emails. I mean, that's okay. But what I really want is me to not have to tell it to do this every single day. I feel like this got a little bit closer to an agent because I was able to set up an automation, but it's still not like a really thinking being. It's more just like accomplishing a task. What I then said was check every morning at 6 a.m. and send me an email summary. And then it said they've scheduled a daily check of my email for sponsored collaborations at 6 a.m. and it's going to notify me when a summary is ready. And the cool thing is I can actually go and edit or delete the scheduled actions. So they're calling them scheduled actions. I actually really like this. I'll probably go set up like 10 of these because I use Gmail and Workspace for like all my businesses. So I have like, I'm inside of Gmail with my custom domains or whatever. This is really useful. You click on the edit button and it has a name, which is my prompt, check my email for sponsorship collaborations. It has an instruction, check my email and send me an email summary. And then it has a schedule and it says it's doing it every day at 6 a.m. I could go edit that, right? I was like, okay, do it at 5 a.m. or instead of daily, do it weekly or monthly or maybe like twice a day or, there's like a whole bunch of different things. This is a very cool tool that I just discovered. I was trying to figure out how to do the workspace thing and I accidentally stumbled upon this instead. I'm sharing this because I genuinely believe this is a very useful tool. I will set up a whole bunch of automations. I'm calling them automations, but scheduled actions is what Gemini calls them on Gemini. And I highly recommend you, listener, do the exact same thing. Look at whatever your workflows are. Look at specific types of emails, like batches of email groups that you frequently have to do and look through. And we all read through a million emails and spam that I don't want to click on half of my emails. But if there's
Right.
like a whole bunch that you routinely get that you need for a specific task, get one of these scheduled actions to do it for you. I think this is amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? It actually raises a really, really good point, Jaden. And I know we're starting to come up on time, and I'll let you close out in a second here. But so when I'm out with companies, one of the biggest things that we can learn together when we're sort of like working with a big, senior leadership team or something like that is not just what AI does, but what it doesn't do.
Yep.
And it's interesting because I had this with Copilot a lot. Like Copilot is unbelievably powerful, and yet it can get a bad rap. And sometimes it can get a bad rap because it actually is not great at slide decks and things like that. It's okay, but it's not like the perfect slide deck or something that's, it would make a mistake in X, Y, or Z or something like that. And so people are like, oh yeah, Copilot doesn't work. I'm like, are you bad? Like Copilot is amazing. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it integrates with all your work.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I do with organizations all the time is say, let's talk about what doesn't work. Because Jaden, what you just said there is gold. Because what you're saying is AI agents, they break a lot. Like, are they super reliable? No, not really. But guess what? You don't have to use like kind of quote unquote AI for everything. Like there are these workflows, and sometimes it's just easier to do this yourself. And then when AI does do something, it's not like AI does either everything or nothing. Figure out what it does well, and don't be afraid to take an example like what Jaden's saying, which is working in Gemini. That's fair. So it is AI. But it's really just a workflow. It's just a kind of a dumb workflow that actually is helping Jaden more than trying to like replace a person, actually saving a lot of time. That's the exciting thing for me. I think that's what people need to take away all the time, which is try these things. But if it doesn't work, take the little bit that does work and just use that. Or just say like, okay, I guess AI doesn't work for that. It's really, really powerful to sort of like have that adaptability mindset to be able to spot the differences.
100%. The other thing that I'll mention is inside this show, Connor was breaking down like a bunch of use cases that this new Gemini workflow workplace AI is able to do. And that was coming from Robert Haslam, one of the members of his team, who is absolutely phenomenal. And the other thing that I'll mention is if that was useful or interesting to you, and you feel like, gee, I really wish I could have like a really good way to level up my own AI understanding, the frameworks I use to think about AI, and not just yourself, but probably the people that work with you, I would highly recommend checking out Connor's AI mindset course. There's a link in the description that I'll put there. That is the number one way that I recommend people that are focusing on scaling up their career or their businesses. Honestly, is usually the big benefactor here, because we have organizations that have I mean, Connor was telling me he's got like organizations that will buy like 10,000 seats. Everyone in their whole organization gets access to this course because they see just how much it benefits the whole company. So if you're looking to think about AI differently, understand what's going on and all of the changes, and have a really awesome educational resource, I highly recommend checking that out. There's a link in the description. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. There's a lot happening. We're going to keep you up to date, and our goal is to continue to give you ways to apply this stuff. So hopefully these use cases were very useful, whether you're going to use them exactly or you're going to get your wheels spinning so you can see how to apply them into your own business. I hope that was helpful. Make sure to leave a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you in the next episode.